thing. You get to look at it, grade it, and then you move on to the fans. Got to eat it until next week. So, but we get to move on to the next one.
Well, the next one is against a feisty division rival, guys. The Panthers, we all know Carolina gave the Super Bowl defending champs all they could handle in Week 9. Will Brady and the Buccaneers be able to get back on track?
Yes. When have we seen Brady have a couple of bad games in a row? This is like a rock band. Brady was once with one of the greatest bands ever, which was the New England Patriots. He leaves, he goes to Tampa, he starts recruiting, he brings in Gronk. But he already had a couple of guys that can rock the stage. You know, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. I say you rock with the original band members. And this isn't me taking a shot at Antonio Brown. I'm just saying get back to the basics. In the very beginning of the season, he was trying to find a rhythm with his two superstars. And then in the first quarter of the season, he did. I'm not saying he was forcing the ball to AB, but adding AB is a different element to this offense. So for me, work with your original guys. Lean on the dudes that know the playbook the most, and that's how you get your rhythm going. And then after that, try to get Antonio Brown, who is the new member of this rock band, going in the game.
See, I think the problem is Antonio Brown. And maybe it's not necessarily a problem yet, but I think it's the most intriguing factor in this.
Yeah.
We had a play the other night against New Orleans. There were a lot of bad plays, and this play did not cost the Bucs the game. There's a 50 of them, but I thought it was really alarming, and it was an interception on the far sideline that Tom Brady threw it to Antonio Brown, and they were wildly on different pages, and it was clearly a work in progress. I just wonder at what point, like, does Mike Evans and Godwin and Gronk say, what are we doing? Do we need this guy? I know it's a risk, and you go all in, and you want to get the best players possible, and Brady's throwing the ball around. He's had a terrible day, from start to finish. I get it, but if this doesn't start working out,
this right here,
this is the play. I knew he was going to force the ball to Antonio Brown. My question is he going to keep doing this? Are you going to try to make this relationship work in the process? Because you need wins now. You're not a 7-0 team. You're trying to get a playoff seeding. It just feels very relatable. We are now entering the holiday season, a season in which American parents buy children toys they don't need just because that's what you do, and they have a million toys they're not even playing with already, and some are broken and some are dangerous. We see more of this from Antonio Brown. I think Bruce Arians needs to stop and be like, is this worth it? Do we need it? We got great players here. What the hell are we doing with this guy here before we even get into the pending legal stuff, which is really pertinent too. Watch for Antonio Brown in this game. If it's more of that, we got to start talking about cutting bait.
Yeah, and if they do cut bait, it's one of those deals where, okay, I mean, we get rid of him and we go back and then you just wonder, well, what was the point of the whole exercise?
We tried.
Anyway, we try. If this playoffs were to start today, and they don't, they'd be a wild card team. That means in the playoffs, they're going either into Lambeau or into Seattle or even if it's into Philadelphia. That's not a friendly place to play in the middle of January. Like, this is not ideal for the Buccaneers right now. And the Panthers are coming on, and they just played really well. And even if they don't have Christian McCaffrey, they're playing tough. And yet, I think about Brady, and, like, he's been there before, guys. Like, Kansas City, 2014, Monday Night Football, the Chiefs annihilate them, and Belichick can say, we're on to Cincinnati, we're on to Cincinnati, we're on to Cincinnati. What happened to that Cincinnati game? Brady went off. Brady was awesome. Like, the Bengals came in as favorites. And Brady had a huge game that day. I would love to show you some of the footage, because he comes out, and well,
we lit up the Cowboys.
Played the Cowboys. All right, anyway.
We're on to Dallas.
We're on to Dallas. Moving right along.
That's okay.
Can't make this stuff up.
Go on, Trey.
I mean, this was probably a great game.
Peter, win the Emmy for us right now.
2014.
It's all right.
Let me dig out of this hole. Let me get the Mamba mentality and dig out of this hole.
You got
on
this.
to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. We got Cowboys highlights.
There it is.
I don't know who that was against. That's the Bengals. This one here, 23 of 35. He had a great game. And, like, he's like, just follow me. I'll get us there.
Remember Kobe tore his Achilles and he got up and still shot the free throws?
He shot the free throw.
That's you right now, baby.
That's Mamba mentality. That's me right now in this segment, digging us out of this hole.
That's you, baby.
But, yeah, no, I think that Brady's been there, done that. Like, if there's any quarterback who's going to just look at that Saints game and be like, we got to turn the page, he's done it. He's done it a million times. So I think Brady's going to be all right.
They did beat the Panthers when they had Christian McCaffrey out there back in week 2, 31-17 handedly. I ask you, Shrakes, like, what is this Tampa? Like, are they just hot and cold? Is that what they are? Because they have these weird losses. What happened to the Saints? And then I looked at what they did. I mean, the last time they stumbled, we saw them follow up another weird loss, a weird loss to the Bears, and they took care of business against the Packers. So is this just what they are, a hot and cold team?
I don't know yet. I don't think we know. I mean,
it's week 10.
Kyle, I would ask you, because they add all these pieces.
I don't think they're a team.
There's no core. There's no, like...
Okay.
I think they have a bunch of great players. Let's throw Fournette into it. Let's throw Gronk into it. But I don't. When the push comes to shove and they're in the middle of a tough game, they don't have that knuckle down. All right, let's take a deep breath factor, and it shows palpably. We fall in love with them against the Packers. Oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're amazing. Next week, completely fall apart, and that's what happens when you put together a bunch of toys and say it's a team.
Isn't that why they brought in Gronk to help with that? Wasn't that what we charged with him? So what happened there? Isn't that part of why they brought Gronk in?
Yeah, but
he talked to the guys, get everybody to be a core and be a thing. Like, wasn't that what we were expecting from Gronk?
No doubt about it. But like I said before, we have to remind ourselves that we're at the midway point. And if we're having this conversation week 17, it's a whole different, whole different topic.
It's not.
And to Schraig's point, if you have time to fix it, then we're not going to look at Tom Brady and assume he won't fix it. He's one of the greatest competitors we've ever seen. Forget about football, in all the sports. You don't think he's going to challenge his guys this week? You don't think he's going to challenge his coach this week? You don't think he's going to look in the mirror and challenge himself this week? And I'm just speaking from the perspective of a player.
Yeah.
Like at week 9, if I'm looking at my record, I'm looking at how good we are, the talent we have on paper, I'm not walking into the facility panicking. I'm looking at each other, and I'm having to come to Jesus moment, though. I'm telling the coach, hey, let me get the team meeting today. I'm going to need the coaches to sit this one out. I'll meet you guys on the field.
Who's that, though, on that team? Is that Brady? Is Mike Evans that type of guy? I just don't know.
That's a good point, and I do think it's Brady. And you know what? I'm not sure if it's going to land because Brady just got there. But if Brady wants to win a Super Bowl...
And you have it now, or you had it after you almost lost to the Giants, or do you have it when you got beaten by the Bears?
When are they looking in the mirror? Aren't they doing that every week?
You have it as many times as you need to. And that's reality. And sometimes those end with, all right, man, I love you. Let's high five and have a good practice. Other times, guys are almost fighting in those meetings.
They are hot.
You know what?
Cold.
With the way that they're playing, there's a couple guys that need to be pushing and shoving because they sure wasn't pushing and shoving on the field.
Well said at GMFB with your thoughts. Let's bring in the rap sheet, Ian Rappaport. Right now, Ian, the Steelers put 4 players on the reserve COVID-19 list yesterday, including Ben Roethlisberger. What are the chances Ben can suit up on Sunday? They've got a game against the Bengals.
I would describe it as a very good chance that Ben Roethlisberger is on the field Sunday against the Bengals. This feels like exactly what we were talking about last week when Matthew Stafford, the Lions starting quarterback, was not positive for COVID-19, but was a high-risk close contact, didn't practice all week, then played on Sunday. Similar situation for the Steelers. So Vance McDonald, their starting tight end, he tested positive for COVID-19. The last interaction that Ben Roethlisberger, along with Gerald Hawkins and Jalen Samuels and Vince Williams, the linebacker, their last high-risk close contact with Vance McDonald was on Sunday. So if you play this out, after 5 days, if they continue to test negative, they would all be good to go. Unlike Stafford, they wouldn't have to wait till Sunday. So Saturday, we will find out if Roethlisberger and a couple of his teammates will be able to play. Of course, Roethlisberger is going to have to go out there really without having practiced, having done the game plan, kind of remotely quarantining himself away from his team. It is challenging. We saw it done with Stafford. We've seen it done with others. The entire Raiders offensive line did it earlier in the season. But this is the Steelers situation. Meanwhile, Roethlisberger is also dealing with injuries to not one, but both of his knees. I'm told there's optimism that he's going